Welcome to today's practice. This practice will focus on another subtle energy called outer spiral. So outer spiral balances out inner spiral, and so you will hear a lot of inner spiral cues followed by outer spiral cues. The two together will create balanced action and refinement to your pose. So with that, let's get started and come to your seated position at the top of your mat. Gently rest your hands onto your thighs and rock back and forth. Start to feel your sit bones. Eventually, evenly weigh yourself on your bones and come to a place of stillness. And once you have found that place of stillness, grow your spine up tall, bring your chin parallel to the mat, and gently close your eyes. Start to tune into your breath here. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Take several breaths here, and whenever you feel your mind wandering, bring it back to your breath. And when you are ready, bring your hands to heart center. Bow down to the one who showed up on the mat. Release your hands, open your eyes, and make your way to your mat on all fours. Once you're on all fours, press into your hands and knees. And on your next exhale, round your back and pull your navel towards your spine, cat pose. Inhale, drop the belly and lift the tailbone up. Lift the chest up and roll the shoulders down the back, cow pose. Start the movement from your tailbone and allow your head and neck to move last as you exhale. Come into cat pose. Start at the base of your tailbone and let your neck and head follow last as you inhale. Come into cow pose. Link movement with breath as you move through your cat and cow 2 to 3 times. We will meet in a neutral spine when you are done. Bring both hands a handprint forward and take your knees slightly behind your hips. Take your right foot out behind you and press into the ball of your foot. Engage your core. Maintain that muscle hugging to bone as you inhale. Lift the leg parallel to the mat. Keep your hips squared and foot flexed, toes point down. Soften your boundaries with your breath and keep your neck soft and gaze down towards the mat. Once you feel ready and have connected with your breath, inhale, lift the left hand out in front of you. Lengthen the crown of the head towards the front of the mat as you push back through the heel of your lifted leg. Inhale to release back to tabletop position. Watch yourself stretch your left leg out behind you and press into the ball of your foot. Pull your navel to spine. From your glute, inhale, lift the back leg up straight behind you and keep that foot flexed, toes pointing down towards the mat. Sweetly focus on your exhale, and on your next inhale, stretch your right hand out in front of you. Lengthen out through the crown of your head and push out through your back heel. Spinal balance. With your breath, gently release and come into your plank position. Once you've come into your plank position, stack your shoulders over your wrists or slightly behind your wrist creases. Now place your right hand directly under your nose and shift both of your heels to the right and place them on the mat. Plug your right shoulder into its socket like a key in a lock and draw that shoulder blade down and underneath you to open you up to the left. Lift your left hand up towards the sky, gaze down towards the top of your hand. Side plank. Lengthen up through your ribs, and inhale, come back to plank and release the pose as you come to your knees and set your hips back on your heels. Roll out the wrists here. Create your plank pose once again. Once you're there, place your left hand under your nose, shift both heels to the left and place them on the mat. Insert that left arm bone into its shoulder socket and use that shoulder blade to turn and open you towards the right as you wrap it in and underneath you. Lift the right arm up to the sky, gaze softly towards the top of your hand. Side plank, other side. Keep your hips light and lifted. And in your next inhale, let the heart turn you back in, plank pose. Take a child's pose here or set your hips back and up into downward facing dog. This might be the first downward facing dog for some of you of the day. Get into it, feel what feels good. Don't judge, just let it go, be in the pose. And if you're in child's pose, meet up in downward facing dog. Now inhale, take your gaze between your hands, and exhale, bring the ears between the biceps, and walk your feet to the top of your mat. Come into your forward fold. Give yourself a slight bend in the knees and grab a hold of both elbows with your hands. Pull the elbows in opposite directions and feel the shoulder blades come onto your back, and then release your head and neck. Shake your head yes, shake your head no. And release your hands, press down with your legs and root down. Inhale, lift the chest up, bring the hands above the head, and exhale, bring your hands next to your side, mountain pose. Breathe into your mountain pose and open to grace. Soften your skin. Hug the shins towards the midline between them. This is muscular energy. Inhale, set your hips back and wide, inner spiral. And now use outer spiral to refine the pose. As you exhale, scoop your tailbone down and forward while drawing your lower belly in and up. Inhale, lift up and extend your spine. Take a few breaths here in your mountain pose. Outer spiral will scoop the tailbone away from the sacrum and forward toward the pubis. Another action to look for with outer spiral is that the lower abdomen lifts from the pubis and towards the navel. Inhale, lift the hands above the head, and long exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees and place all 10 fingers onto the mat. Step your left foot back into lunge pose. Press the balls of the feet into the mat, and then with your breath, lift your chest and bring your hands to your knees. Shorten your stance as you bring the back foot towards the middle of the mat. So now we're more in a short stance lunge pose. Feel your bones and receive your breath. Take that left thigh back and wide, inner spiral, and take your right hand and place your thumb right into the hip crease of the front leg. Manually wrap your upper thigh out and under, outer spiral. Draw your lower belly up and in, and with your breath, bring your hands to heart center. Release the hands to frame the front foot and step back foot to meet the front, forward fold. Now step your right foot back into lunge pose. Equally weight your feet into the earth. Inhale, lift the chest to bring your hands onto your front knee, and bring that back foot forward towards the middle of the mat to shorten your stance. Tune into your breath here. Move the right thigh back. Press down into the big toe of the front foot and draw the whole foot back. Feel your inner thighs engage. Lift the chest up and draw the tailbone down as you bring your hands to heart center. Gaze is soft. Relax the space around your shoulders. Release that and use your breath to guide yourself into your downward facing dog. Inhale, bring your right foot forward And release your back heel to the mat, foot parallel to the short edge of the mat, and take both hands just inside of the front foot. Press down into the earth with the balls of your feet and bring awareness to your back leg front pocket area. Hollow it out by lifting your thigh back and wide. Maintain that as you radically wrap the front buttocks underneath you. Use that to open yourself up towards the left. Keep your right hand anchored as left hand lifts up towards the sky. If your body isn't going into this position yet, bring your right elbow onto your front knee and left bicep next to your ear. Inhale, evenly expand your upper torso and shoulders, side angle pose. Inhale, release the hands to frame the front foot and square your hips to the top of the mat as you release the back heel. Lift your chest into a high lunge, hands to heart center, and stack front knee over ankle. Exhale, press deep into the front big toe mound. Inhale, shift your weight forward as you float the back leg parallel to your mat, warrior 3. Reach out through your lifted leg, back as if you're kicking it up against a wall behind you. Reach your crown of the head in the opposite direction. Keep your neck soft and gaze down towards the mat. You can keep your hands here in Anjali Mudra, or when you feel ready, bring your arms next to your side, or stretched out in front, biceps next to ears. Use your breath to bring the back leg to meet the front, mountain pose. Find your own way into a downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, inhale, take your left foot between the hands and release your back heel so it's parallel to the short edge of the mat, and bring both hands inside your front foot. Keep your feet anchored as you exhale, pull front heel towards back arch and back arch towards the front heel. Inhale, right thigh back and wide. Exhale, wrap the front left sit bone underneath you as if you were tucking the sheets under the mattress. From the core, use that wrapping motion to open you up to the right. Lift the right hand up. Inhale, press down into the grounded hand and lift and expand your ribcage away from your hips. Use your breath to feel the pose here. And with your breath, release the pose and come into a lunge with the hands framing the front foot. Strengthen your legs as you inhale, lift the chest up and bring your hands to heart center. Stack your front knee over ankle. Press into the front big toe mound as if you were pushing the gas pedal. Find a spot on the floor out in front of you and use your gaze as a source of steadiness. Engage your core, bring belly button to spine, and on your inhale, kick off and reach your heart past your toes, warrior 3. Allow the breath to fill the entire pose. Kick back through your back heel, reach forward through the crown of your head. And when you feel steady, bring your arms next to your side or stretch out in front of you. Link movement with breath as you use a long exhale to bring back leg to meet the front, mountain pose. So take a block here, or even a water bottle works here, and set it at the front of your mat. Come back to your mountain pose at the top of your mat. Step left foot back and find a warrior 2 pose. Take your block and set it wide and about a foot past your front toes. Connect back into your breath. Root through your front leg and shorten your stance as you bring back foot towards the middle of the mat. Place your right hand on your block and left hand on your hip. Sweep your hips back and wide. Can you maintain that as you wrap your front buttocks under you and open up the heart to the left? Keep wrapping your front buttocks down and under as you press down into the front foot and straighten it. Float the back leg parallel to the mat, ankle flexed and toes spread out, active feet. Use the inhale to expand out into your moon pose, lift the left hand up to the sky. And as you skillfully came into the pose, use your breath to skillfully bring yourself out of the pose. Meet in a mountain pose at the top of your mat. Step the right foot back into a Warrior Two pose. Now take your block to the side and past your front foot. Come back into your Warrior Two pose, deepen your breath. Say yes to smooth transitions in your life. Bring your back leg to the middle of the mat. Take your left hand on your block and right hand on your hip. Inhale, push hips back and wide. Keep that as you exhale, draw the front leg sit bones down towards the floor. Inhale, push into the front ball of your foot and straighten out your front leg. At the same time, lift your back leg parallel to the mat. Stack right hip over left hip. Big bright inhale to lighten up your upper body. Let it shine out and lift your right hand up to the sky. Moon pose. Trust yourself, trust your breath to take you safely out of the pose. And meet in mountain at the top of your mat. Inhale, lift the hands above the head. Long exhale takes us through the motion of forward fold. And place both hands on the mat and step back into downward facing dog. Make your way onto your back. On your back, bend your knees and set your feet hip-width apart and parallel to each other. Take your arms next to your side, palms to the mat. Deep breath and feel your body expand into the floor beneath you, completely supported. From your upper palate, lengthen the neck and expand from the crown of the head. Exhale and actively press your inner feet and upper arms into the floor. Inhale, lift your hips up towards the sky and draw your tailbone towards your knees. Bridge pose. Exhale, release one vertebrae at a time. And once you have reached the mat, exhale, sigh deeply. Shine the soles of your feet to the sky and bend your knees towards the chest. Grab a hold of the outside edge of your feet or wrap peace fingers over big toes, happy baby. Allow your hips to open and actively draw your tailbone down towards the mat. Rock back and forth here if it feels good, or straighten out one leg at a time. Start to wind down. Release your baby pose and bring yourself into Shavasana, our final resting pose. Arms next to your sides with palms facing up, legs out straight, ankles just wider than the hips. Feet fall freely open away from each other. And allow your body to fully rest into the earth beneath you. Let go of your breath and surrender completely. Whenever we find our mind wandering, just see our thoughts as clouds passing by through a sky. Hold on to nothing, no judgment here, just let it go. Relax the muscles of your face. Surrender. Slowly let your breath expand your ribcage. Start to wiggle your toes, your fingers, and in your own time come into a fetal position. In your fetal position, keep your hips anchored and use your hands to lift yourself up Keep the gaze closed or soft as you find your way into an easy seated position at the top of the mat. The light within me salutes the light within you. Namaste.